That's something called sleep entry. Salvador Dali and some current tech companies in San Francisco, they believe that during that period, you kind of sort of have access to that divergent creative ideation of dreaming, and that they can extract ideas from there.
What if your dreams aren't really yours? What if while you're asleep, someone or something is quietly accessing your mind, guiding what you dream about? It's a chilling thought, but recent research suggests it might not be as far-fetched as it sounds. The idea that our dreams could be influenced by external forces opens up a world of unsettling possibilities. Could our most private thoughts and fears be manipulated while we sleep?
They're making programs that add noise, because sometimes the patterns and algorithms of computers become so rigid, like our daily thinking, that they can't handle the insertion of new data. And that sort of mirrors what's going on. It's called overfitted. The computer process and algorithm design is too tight, too efficient. And that learning from dreaming, they find that the computer system is more adaptive when they add in noise.
For as long as we can remember, we've been told that dreams are simply the workings of our subconscious mind. Psychology and science have long classified them as just random processes. It's only our brain trying to make sense of memories, emotions, and the things you've experienced throughout the day. Sigmund Freud, one of the first to really try to interpret dreams, believed that they were much more than just random thoughts. He argued that dreams were a window into our deepest desires, fears, and unresolved conflicts. In Freud's eyes, every symbol and image that appeared in our dreams was a clue to our repressed emotions, often stemming from childhood experiences. His ideas laid the foundation for modern dream interpretation, where each dream is treated as a puzzle to solve.
Dreams should not be neglected, okay? Nightmares, if they pop up and they arrive out of the blue, they shouldn't be neglected. I think dreams that are flashbacks after PTSD obviously should not be neglected. So there's some dreams that have an easier rule to follow, if you will. But then what about those other dreams that you're bringing up, right? Like intensely emotional, that linger with you during the day, and you're wondering like, wait a second, is that an insight to myself that I don't even have?
Modern psychology has since shifted, seeing dreams as the brain's way of processing information, filing away memories, and even solving problems. But even today, dreams are often explained as disconnected, fleeting images without much meaning. We've grown accustomed to thinking of them as random, subconscious activity that comes and goes without any real rhyme or reason. But what if that assumption isn't entirely true? What if, instead of being random, dreams are more like access points, gateways to something bigger, or even controlled by something or someone else? What if our dreams aren't as private or random as we've been led to believe? What if some external forces like technology, frequencies, or even targeted stimuli could influence what we dream about? This might sound far-fetched, but recent studies and experiments suggest that our dreams might be more malleable than we ever thought.
Tech is all over it. They're tracking the data from smartphones and certain people. You're volunteering. They'll play certain songs and they'll have people watch commercials and see if they dream about it more and then buy that product more. Like, that space is here. So if somebody's listening, like, that's a massive space. And I just think I would remind people that we're not completely shut off when we dream. We wake up to alarms and smoke, and that we should be careful about, in that vulnerable, precious, remarkable, and unique state, that somebody's not just taking marketing advantage of it. And I think that's where AI will extract data, figure out what's the right buzz, the right sound. And just to riff on this a little bit, like 100 years ago, they were like, people were asleep and they put their hand in like a bucket of water to see if they had more dreams about water. In the modern version, they're gonna be taking your data and trying to fine tune like the song, the scent, and the picture to put, to throw at you to try to get you to buy stuff. So
oh my God.
I'm a bit like dystopian about that because I don't want, I'm private, especially in my dream life.
Some scientists believe that our brains, while we sleep, are vulnerable to certain outside influences. Technologies designed to stimulate the brain or manipulate our sleep cycles can, in some cases, affect the content of our dreams. Researchers have even found that sounds, light, or other external cues can trigger specific memories or altered dream patterns, almost as though we are being tuned in by outside forces. Impressive results, but pause for a second. How exactly are those signals sneaking into your sleeping mind? This idea starts to bring up some unsettling possibilities. If we can be influenced during sleep, what happens when those influences are used for more than just scientific experiments? Could military or experimental research be using our dreams as a way to control or manipulate our thoughts? Could companies one day tailor advertisements specifically to our dreams? The implications of this technology could stretch far beyond what we can think of, opening up a new frontier in psychological control and influence. But that kind of influence, subtle, quiet, almost invisible, doesn't just live in old war files or dream experiments. It's happening now, on your screen, in your pocket, all day. Every app you open, every site you visit, every late night search when you think no one's watching, someone is. You might not hear it, but the digital world hums with the same silent power, tracking, targeting, and shaping what you see next. That's why today, digital privacy isn't just optional, it's survival. And that's where Surfshark comes in. Surfshark is a VPN, but not just any VPN. It encrypts everything you do online. No trackers, no ads tailored to your insecurities, no silent profiling behind your back. You get complete privacy even on public Wi-Fi, access to any content from anywhere in the world, and protection on every device you own, all under one account. Go to surfshark.com/advice and use code ADVICE at checkout to get 4 extra months for Surfshark VPN. That's surfshark.com/advice, also linked below. Because the less they know about you, the less control they have. When it comes to the science of dreams, it's not just theoretical anymore. There are actual studies and experiments that suggest dreams can be influenced. One of the most famous examples is Michael Persinger's God helmet, a device that uses electromagnetic stimulation to the brain, triggering visions and even hallucinatory experiences. People who used the helmet reported strange sensations, from religious experiences to vivid dreams, showing that external factors can have a profound impact on the content of our minds while we sleep.
I have had some weird experiences. I've had out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, visions. I've taken loads of different drugs. I've had some interesting experiences. But the weirdest I've ever had was induced by Michael Persinger. He does experiments on the brain. What he does is to put a rapidly fluctuating magnetic field across the temporal lobes of the brain. He puts on his subjects a kind of like modified motorcycle helmet thing with solenoids in the side to produce these fields. And he claims that he can actually produce different kinds of experience by varying the field, the pattern of changes in this field across your head. And he's published various studies suggesting that he can produce out-of-body experiences something like alien abductions, strange bodily sensations, and so on. And how I got involved in this was that I was asked by the BBC to present a Horizon programme on alien abductions.
The God helmet sparked controversy, but it opened the door to the idea that technology could access and influence our brainwaves in ways we never considered before.
So one of the things we did for the programme was to go and visit Michael Persinger in Canada, and I was put into this box, where it all happens. Well, I have been in situations like that without the motorcycle helmet. I've often been, in sensory deprivation, in Ganzfeld, where you have ping pong balls on the eyes and white noise. So this is a familiar situation to me. And what happened was not familiar at all. There I was, lying there. And really nothing much happened, slight drifty feelings, like I would expect. And then suddenly, I felt as though my whole body was getting stretched longer and longer and longer, and as though my left leg was being pulled right up the wall, as though it had sort of like stretched, and then it went back again. And that was so sudden and so weird. I was like, wow, that's, really weird. And then it was as though somebody had got hold of my shoulders and was like pulling pulling my shoulders as though it was pulling me up. So I simultaneously knew that I was still lying down on this thing and yet felt that I was sitting up. Fine, nothing happens for a bit and I'm just lying there, just drifty sort, feelings. A bit as though I might be on the verge of having an out-of-body experience, but it never really happened. That sort of a feeling. And then suddenly I was angry. Really bizarre. I was furiously, do you know how sometimes you get angry? You just really, so mad. That sort of feeling, suddenly, there wasn't anything to be angry about, and then it was gone. And, okay. And then suddenly I was really frightened in the same kind of way. I don't know what I was frightened of. It was just this awful fear, like creepy, skin-crawling, horrible fear came over me and went away again. And these experiences were so powerful that the thought I was left with really was this. I knew I had this motorcycle helmet on. I could say, oh, well, this is because of the motorcycle helmet. But what if you had those experiences without a motorcycle helmet?
MIT's Dream Lab and the Dormio Project have also explored the idea of manipulating dreams, but through a different approach. This time, it was audio stimuli. In their experiments, researchers used specific sounds or tones to alter the content of participants' dreams. By playing these sounds while the subjects were in REM sleep, they could trigger certain themes or images, manipulating the dream environment in real time. This research shows the possibility that with the right cues, we could shape the dreams we have while we sleep. If headphones and headsets can steer our dreams, imagine what a military-grade program could do. But how close are they, really? DARPA, the US Department of Defense Advanced Research Agency, has been quietly working on sleep modulation for years. Their goal isn't just about helping soldiers get better rest, it's about understanding how to control and optimize the human brain during sleep.
How could you tell if your mind has been brainwashed, or your mind has been hacked, or you've been subjected to mind control, or hypnosis, or undue influence? The people who want to persuade want you to stay ignorant.
By studying sleep cycles in depth, DARPA has explored ways to extend alertness, speed up recovery, and possibly influence what the brain processes while unconscious. Some of their research has looked into manipulating specific stages of sleep, like REM, which is directly tied to dreaming. If they can target and control those stages, they could influence or even shape what a person dreams about. Again, here comes the possibility that dreams could become tools for programming behavior, enhancing training, or even subtly adjusting a person's perception, all without their conscious awareness. Further experiments have taken things even deeper, especially in labs based in Japan and Switzerland, where scientists have been working on something called targeted memory reactivation, or TMR. The idea behind it is surprisingly simple and a little unsettling. During sleep, especially when the brain is replaying memories, researchers play specific sounds that were earlier paired with certain activities or pieces of information while the person was awake. These subtle clues can bring those same memories back to life during sleep, almost like reopening a file on a computer. This doesn't just help with memory improvement, it also influences the actual content of dreams. Say you were studying something all day and heard a particular tune while doing it. That same tune playing during your sleep can nudge your brain to revisit those exact memories or themes in your dreams. It's like someone gently steering your thoughts without you knowing. So you hear a tune, and suddenly you're back in Biology 101. But how do those notes translate into a dreamscape under someone else's control?
There have been experiments where people try to input information during sleep. Now, there have been dozens and dozens of studies all around the world which show how efficient this technology is. It's called target memory reactivation. So, there has been for a long time this dream, right, that we could learn during sleep, because most people think that is a idle time. We already show that it's not at all. There are a lot of things happening during sleep, but most people think, oh, I'm losing, 8 hours would be nice if I could use this time to do something, right? Like maybe learning something. So,
even more surprising is a study published on Nature.com that showed researchers communicating with people while they were dreaming in real time. Using a mix of brain scans, audio cues, and prearranged signals like eye movements, scientists were able to decode certain parts of a dream as they were happening. Participants were asked simple questions and gave responses from within the dream. Using agreed-upon eye flicks, the researchers couldn't see the exact narrative of the dream, but they could identify themes, like whether the person was dreaming of a car, a house, or a face, all while the person was still asleep. It's not full dream reading yet, but it's closer than we ever thought possible. We've skirted around the edges of dream control, but what does that mean for you, right here, right now, as you drift off tonight? Which brings us to the bigger question. What if this isn't science fiction anymore? What if dream manipulation isn't just something happening in research labs with willing volunteers hooked up to wires? What if it's already being used in ways we don't even see? The title says it all. They can access your dreams while you sleep. And the more you think about it, the more it starts to make sense. If they have figured out how to trigger specific memories, plant sounds to guide dreams, and even talk to people while they're asleep, then how far off is the next step? Using that access to influence us. Let's take this as an example. You're dreaming, totally unaware, and someone is quietly feeding ideas into your subconscious. Maybe it's a brand you start craving for no reason. Maybe it's a fear or a thought that wasn't even yours to begin with. What if a government or corporation had the ability to slip into your mind at your most vulnerable? Not when you're scrolling or watching, but when you're completely unaware and unguarded.
Because I was so fanatical, I was so confident that I had the truth. And little did I know, on day 4, when I learned about Chinese communist brainwashing from former military intelligence people who had studied it in the 50s, it ticked off every box. Everyone needs to understand this is not a mystical thing. You've heard of MK Ultra, the CIA research into mind control? I was MK Ultra 3.0. I would have died on command, killed on command. And thank God my family rescued me.
If this technology falls into the wrong hands, it could become one of the most powerful tools for manipulation the world has ever seen. You wouldn't need to control what people see on the news or feed them ads on their phones. You just need access to their dreams, and that access, according to science, is already within reach. It makes me wonder, were ancient people trying to protect something sacred in our sleep? And now, by unlocking it with machines and data, are we opening a door that was never meant to be opened? Long before labs, brain scans, or digital headsets, ancient civilizations were already treating dreams as something sacred or maybe something dangerous. In ancient Egypt, people didn't just sleep, they prepared to dream. Temples devoted to Serapis, the god of healing and prophecy, were dream sanctuaries. There, individuals would sleep and hope to receive visions from the gods. These dreams were believed to be divine messages, something prophetic, sometimes healing, and often deeply personal. Dreams were treated as bridges to another realm, one that required caution and reverence. Could it be that ancient cultures understood something we are now only beginning to explore? The power to influence or even control dreams. In Native American traditions, there were people known as Dreamwalkers, spiritual figures believed to have the ability to step into the dreams of others. The belief was that someone could literally enter your dream and guide, heal, or manipulate it. It was a gift, but one that carried great responsibility. The fact that so many tribes pass this down as sacred knowledge hints at something much deeper than folklore. It suggests a long-standing understanding that the dream world isn't always private, and maybe it never was. Then comes the Tibetan Buddhists, who took a different path but landed on the same idea that dreams hold immense spiritual weight. Through the practice of dream yoga, monks train themselves to become fully conscious within their dreams. But the goal is to use dreams to confront fears, explore the nature of reality, and even prepare for death. It's a spiritual technology, one that teaches how vulnerable the dream state truly is. Even religious texts echo this warning. In both the Bible and Gnostic writings, dreams are seen as channels for divine communication, but also deception. Dreams are often divine messages, like Joseph's prophetic dreams or those guiding the wise men. But darker dreams also appear, like when false prophets deceive with misleading visions, showing that dreams can be a tool for both guidance and manipulation. The kind of duality only exists when power is involved. What if the ancients weren't just exploring dreams, but protecting them? And what if those ancient warnings were more than just spiritual allegories? You wake up in the morning, your mind still hazy, and all you can recall from your dreams are a few scattered images. And that's it. What if somewhere in the shadows, someone or something remembers the whole dream? The eerie idea that our dreams could be accessed, influenced, or even manipulated isn't as distant as we might think. Could the most private part of our consciousness be vulnerable to external control? What if these dreams, once personal and protected, are now becoming something else entirely? What if dreams are the real access points? What do you think? Could someone be influencing your dreams while you sleep? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to check out the Surfshark offer. It's still waiting for you in the description below.